Hello and good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone who is joining from all over the world. Welcome everyone to another session in this Data Hour series. We are thrilled to be here with you this evening for a session full of action-packed learning. I am Ketak Gunjal, part of data science team at Analytics Vidhya, and I, along with my two colleagues, Rishabh and Monish, will be moderating this session. For those who have joined us for the first time, a brief introduction about these Data Hour sessions. The Data Hour is a series of webinars conducted by Analytics Vidhya, led by top industry experts. It is a fun way to understand the concepts of data science from leading players in the data tech domain. And as the name suggests, this whole 1 hour is dedicated fully to data. So we are hopeful that these sessions are going to be a great source of enrichment and value adding for our community members. Now on to our session today, which is building scalable, secure, and responsible AI solutions in Azure. In this data, you will get to learn how you can build scalable, secure, and responsible AI solutions in Azure and deploy machine learning models to production at scale. The speaker will explore a variety of topics like how to become an Azure data scientist, building an elite data science team, the AI or ML journey you can go through, building an AI or ML platform, machine learning operations, responsible artificial intelligence, and AI or ML security also to fill up. Now on to our speaker, whom you can see has turned on the camera and is sharing the screen. It's Caio Moreno from London with us. So Caio is a senior cloud solution architect at Microsoft. He has experience in a large number of fields, which include artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data, internet over the things, distributed systems, analytics, streaming, business intelligence, data integration, and visualization. And he is also a PhD candidate at Complutense University of Madrid. So over to you, Caio. The virtual stage is all yours.
Thank you very much for the introduction, and thank you very much for the opportunity to be here. I hope you guys can all see me and hear me. If anyone can just say, just to make sure that you guys can hear me and see me, please.
Yes,
let me know.
Caio, we can see.
Excellent.
Screen is also visible. Yeah.
Excellent. So yeah, very happy to be here with you guys. I am talking from London, United Kingdom. It's a very sunny day. For me, it's 4 p.m. my time. So yeah, very excited to spend this hour with you guys. So I prepared a presentation, which was mentioned, that is building scalable, secure, and responsible AI solutions in Azure. And the target audience are people who wanted to start as a data science in Azure, maybe some experienced data science that are already using other tools, other platforms, other clouds, and want to move to Azure. Also, if you wanted to build your data science team, if you are in your AI journey, if you're building your AI strategy. And then when we speak about the platform and the building solution, I will also cover topics as ML Ops and responsible AI. So I am Caio Moreno. I'm a senior cloud solution architect at Microsoft, and I'm very happy to be talking to you. So good morning, good afternoon, good night. I can see people joining from many parts, and I know most of you guys are in India. I had the chance to visit India, and I went to Hyderabad, so I know some people mentioned in the chat they're from Hyderabad. No, Microsoft has a big headquarters in Hyderabad. So yeah, very welcome to everyone from all parts of the world. So just a little bit about introduction, about the agenda. As was mentioned, I'm going to just give a quick intro also about machine learning for those who are new. This session will give you some ideas in case you're totally new to machine learning and you want to explore this. I know it's a very hot topic. So if you wanted to work in something that you're going to have a lot of work, machine learning is definitely a field to pursue. So for the early in careers, I really recommend going to the machine learning field. And then I'll give some ideas how you could become a Azure data scientist, and also how you build a data science team, because most of the times we think about the data science team only as the data scientist, but no, there's a lot of other roles that they're very, very important that I would like to cover today. Also, talking a little bit about the data and AI strategy, which I've been researching this for a long time, and also about the journey. And then when we speak more about the building the scalable and security solution using responsible AI, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the topic responsible AI, but this is something that Microsoft is promoting this for a long time now, because it's not just about building a machine learning solution that goes to production, but also building something that is responsible, something that will not harm people, that will not cause any damage to people. So we will cover about that as well. And then for those who are more towards the engineering fields, we're going to cover about ML ops, which is machine learning ops. So for people that already are familiar with DevOps, machine learning ops is kind of the DevOps for machine learning. And then I'm gonna present a customer story, through customer story from a customer that I'm working with then for the last 2 years, and then it became a public story at Microsoft, which is very, very good, and it's a story that I personally love, and I'm very, very happy to show this to you guys today. Just a little bit about myself. I am, as I said, Senior Cloud Solution Architect at Microsoft, and I am also finishing my PhD. Competency. Before Microsoft, I worked for Avana, Accenture. I worked for Hitachi. I also worked for Pentaho, and I had a company for around 9 years called IT4Biz, which I was doing consulting for many different organizations like government and big organizations in Brazil and Spain. And then I moved to London around 4 years ago, almost 5 now, and I'm here working for Microsoft for those last years. From a personal side, I have three daughters. So I'm married, have 3 daughters, and I live in London in UK. If anyone comes here and wants to say hello, just ping me on LinkedIn. I'll be happy to meet you guys, and maybe we can talk close to the Microsoft office in Paddington, which is usually where I go more. If you want to connect with me with LinkedIn, this is my LinkedIn and also my Linktree, where I have more other social medias as well. So going back to what is important, what you guys came here today, I want to talk about AI itself, because before we go to the techie part, it's important to understand the potential of AI. So Satya Nadella, for those who don't know, he's the Microsoft CEO, and he's also a tech leader in the world. So he said that AI isn't just another piece of technology. It could be one of the most fundamental pieces of technology the human race has ever created. So that makes us think a lot about the potential of the technology, but also the responsibility that we as part of the data science team that we have, because when we build a solution, some solution will impact the lives of millions or maybe billions of people. So we really need to think, are we doing the right thing and for the right purpose? And let's impact the world to good things, not to bad. Let's not be evil. So a little bit of introduction about machine learning. Maybe you guys are familiar with that, so I'm not gonna go very deep on that because I believe you guys already know. But thinking this in a way that maybe I could explain this to my little daughters. Most of my daughters, they ask me, Dad, what do you do? Tell me a little bit about your work. So I try to explain to them that I work with machine learning. And then machine learning is a subfield inside artificial intelligence. So think about artificial intelligence, and then you have machine learning. And basically what machine learning is trying to do is to teach computers to make predictions. So in this image, we have a chair, for example, this green chair. Let's imagine we wanted to create a machine learning model that is capable to read an image and predict if this is a chair or not. So what you're going to have to do, you're going to have to give some images, and you're going to have to label those images, and you're going to say, okay, this is a chair, this is not a chair. So then the computer will use this historical data, and then we'll use algorithms and we'll predict. So there's some maths and statistics, as I believe most of you guys are familiar with, behind. But in a very simple terms, this is what machine learning is trying to do. But then when we go to some concepts, we know that to build a machine learning model, you need to have inputs and output. So basically, when we think about input, synonyms would be kind of, okay, people talk about feature, attribute, predictor, variable. So you're going to hear data science saying, okay, what are the features we have for this model? And then you're going to have things like, what are you trying to predict? So the output, things like target variable. Okay, what I'm trying to predict. In this case, in that example was if it was a chair or not. So you're going to have things like class and label. What are other names that people use? And then when we think about the variables, we have categorical, which like qualitative, nominal, numeric, quantitative. So those are things that you probably are familiar if you are in the field. If you're not, you're going to hear this a lot during your career as a data scientist. And then going back to going more deep into the details, then you can say, okay, so now that I'm building my machine learning solution, am I building a solution that is going to use supervised learning or unsupervised learning, or maybe semi-supervised learning? And then there are others ones as well. But just to think about supervised, which I see most of our customers using. I mean, there are a lot of other customers using other types of machine learning, but supervised is definitely the one that most of the organizations, they are putting models to production. So that basically is, imagine that you have a data set. So you have data that is already labeled. So you can say, okay, this person is going to leave my company. This person is going to stay. So you can have like features of some variables, and then you have the outcome, the output, that is a label saying, for example, yes or no. Going more for simple things, when we think about, all of us probably use emails, and then an email, most of the email, they are capable to say, this is a spam, this is not a spam. So to build those models, the data science team, they have to create like a big historical data set with emails that were spam or not spam, and then they label those things. And then you can use this technique of labeling for many things. For example, if you're working with computer vision, then you can go to your images and you can say, okay, this is a chair, this is not. Or for example, if you want to do the typical machine learning example, okay, is it a cat or not a cat? So you can define that. And then in the supervised learning, you can divide into classification problems, such as spam email detection, then regressions. And then in the unsupervised, you have things like clustering. And then I don't want to go that deep in this, because I think this is probably something you guys already know. So then we have also reinforcement learning, and we have the recommender systems. So just to make this concept of building your AI solution more clear, maybe for the people that will see this video in the future, and the people that are starting the data science career, when you build your AI solution using machine learning, let's imagine you want to build a solution that is capable to predict the price of the car. And then we see this in the market. So there's some websites, you put some details of your car, and then it gives you a prediction. In fact, it's not a prediction. Most of the companies, they give how much they will pay to you, but some companies, they use machine learning behind the scene to forecast, okay, we should pay this amount for this car. Of course, there are some things that they put, for example, most of the time, they don't pay what your car is worth, but they pay you less. But they use, most of them, they use machine learning behind the scene to help them to predict. So let's imagine that I wanted to build an AI solution that is going to say, okay, how much my car is worth, or how much my house is worth. In this case, you're going to have to prepare the data, you're going to have to build and train your model, and then you're going to have to deploy. So going to the solution, the build and train, to make it very simple, is imagine that you have the X variables, which are the inputs. You remember the previous slide? And then you have your model, which is the machine learning model. And then you have your output, which is the Y, which is the car value. So in this case, just to make it very easy to understand, you have car brand, year of make, and mileage. And then you put those three variables in your model, and then it gives you the prediction. But of course, if you wanted to create a better model, you could probably add more things into your model, more features. For example, there are other variables that you should add to your model to make your prediction more prediction better. So when you build your model, what is going to happen? Your model is going to have an accuracy. Okay, this is basically saying how good you are. Most of the models, they're not good, but some of them, they might be useful. So what you have to find is a balance between, okay, is this totally useful, or I can use this to maybe augment my decision, or in fact, this is so good that I wanted to do this in an automatic way. You know, there are some, let's say, websites that they give you the price in one minute or 10 seconds. Basically, this is fully automated, and this is what's deployed in a web app, that basically you put some data and then predict you the value that some companies are willing to pay you, and this is totally automatic. So just to bring you an example that will help you understand more about what are we talking about. Okay, so if you like that, so if you say, you know what, I really like machine learning, this is what I want to do as my career. I wanted to build models for companies. And then we have all types of models in this world. We have companies trying to predict anything you can imagine. So if you really like to build models, and this is something you see yourself doing, or maybe you are already doing, and then you wanted to improve your skills, I think the next question is, okay, how to become an Azure data scientist. Of course, I work for Microsoft, so today I'm going to present to you how you could become an Azure data scientist. So if you're already a data scientist, then you're going to learn a little bit how you could start using Azure. So for those who doesn't know what Azure is, Microsoft has a cloud service called Azure. So basically, you can run workloads in the cloud. And then when we think and we see the idea of Azure data science, is pretty much a data scientist that is running workloads in the cloud. So you're not running on your local machines, or maybe you're not running on premise, or you're running on the Microsoft cloud. Okay, how do I become an Azure data scientist? So for the people that wanted to pursue this Azure data science career, I basically put two links. The right one, which says how to become an Azure data scientist, is a YouTube video that I put into my channel some time ago, which I talk about, okay, what are the types of materials? So it's around like 15 minutes. That's why I'm not going to cover this topic in details. I will leave these to you guys to see later. But I basically talk about around 15, 20, I think 15 minutes about the certifications you should pursue, some trainings and some courses that if you do, and they are all for free for the people that wanted to become an Azure data science. Microsoft released this for free for everybody, so people can go to the trainings and do all the trainings and then get very, very good with our service. And then the one in the left is how to become a data science on Azure. This is a session that was presented in a Microsoft event. So I really recommend this session as well. So I would say those two YouTube videos could be a very good start for the folks in this call and the people that are watching this video to start. Of course, if you're not a data science, maybe you're gonna have to go for things like maybe pursuing a master degree or a PhD, or spending time with learning, improving your statistics skills, your coding skills, your mathematics skills. So there are many skills that you need as a data science. You need to be able to understand the business, you need to be able to tell stories to people. So when you know, when you build your model, you need to be able to explain your model. So there are many skills that as a data science you need. And then an Azure data science is pretty much a normal data scientist, but focus on Azure. So you need to be a data science and then just do the things you normally do, but in Azure, which is the Microsoft Cloud. So now the next step is, okay, I'm really into it. So I'm a company, or maybe I am a leader in a specific organization. I want to build a data science team. So my organization already have money to invest on that. And then I think this is a very important thing that most of the organizations they are doing. They are investing in research, which most of the time that's what the data science team. So the challenge I see with some organizations that when we think about the idea of scientist is someone that is researching, is someone that is actually trying to do something that is probably new. So no, it was not done before. So there is a big element of risk. So when you're building a data science team, you need to be very ready to accept risk. You might be able to get some good results, but you're also going to get a lot of failures. So you're going to maybe invest in a technology or in a product or in a project or in a AI solution that will be a totally failure. But maybe what you invest will be enough or good to help with another problem. So having a data science team is also a risk, but most of the organizations that did this before, they invest in a data science team, they are now getting the fruits from that. So because it's a risk, but every risk has opportunities. So every field, people are investing in data science projects, but most of the people, they don't know the leaders. It's very hard for a stakeholder, someone that is actually paying the bill, and say, you know what, I'm going to put money on this and I'm going to get this result. So there's a lot of assumptions, there are a lot of hypotheses. So you put a hypothesis, you say, you know what, maybe if I build this machine learning model, I will be able to get this business outcome. So, but I seen many companies having very, very good success and pushing models to production in scale, which means they are using this model a lot. And Microsoft is a very good example of that. The tools that we sell, we use internally for most of our use case, and then we have a lot of machine learning embedded into our products. So just talking about the data science team, I gave some ideas of roles that we could have. For example, we could have a team lead, someone to manage the team, maybe a Scrum Master type of role or a project manager type of role, or even like a product owner, domain expert, someone that is gonna help you to manage and to give the vision and where you want it to go, and help the team to orchestrate and facilitate this. And then you can have the AI solution architect, which is responsible to design the technical solution and then make sure that it's going to meet the requirements, and then you can have, for example, a data scientist. It's important that your AI solution architect is someone that understands machine learning. Most of the times I see the AI solution architect as data scientists, people that they were data science, they still are data science, but they are more now covering the solution architect role. So you see the many solution architects at Microsoft, they have the data science background, and then they were data science, so they still are data science, but they also are solution architect. And then you can have data science, the people will build the model, and then data engineering. You can have people to do the visualization. In the case of Microsoft, for example, someone that is very good with Power BI. You can have the data architect, and then a role called ML Ops Engineer, which I'm going to talk about in the next slide more. And then you can have, for example, an app developer. Imagine you wanted to have a web app that is going to consume your machine learning model. And then, so those are some of the roles that you could have in your team. Of course, you can bring more roles, you can expand your team. You can also reduce. Maybe you're saying, okay, Caio, let's say we're talking about 1, 2, 3, like four roles. Maybe I don't have the investment now to have this big team. Can I have a smaller team? Yeah, I do know some companies, they just have like one data science that plays all the roles, and maybe one data science and a data engineer, or maybe a data engineer that is trying to play the data science role. So there are many, or maybe a data architect that is proficient in other things like data engineer and data scientist. So I see when I work with my customers in my day-to-day activities at Microsoft, I see many different data science teams and how they operate and work with them. So just to go a little bit more deeper into the machine learning engineering, I think this is a very trend, a big trend that we see in a lot of companies. They're starting to separate the data scientist and the DevOps engineer from the machine learning engineer. So the machine learning engineer is someone that is focused on implementing the MLOps pipeline, which you're going to see in more details very soon in the other slides. But it's responsible to deploy the machine learning solutions into production, responsible to optimize the solution, make it more performant and scale this. So it's a very critical role, and there is a lot of potential. So maybe if you don't see yourself as a data scientist or a data architect or data engineer or all the other roles that I spoke, there is this DevOps focus on machine learning role that is very in demand, and it's very, very needed. And then also the salaries are very good for all these roles, but definitely for the machine learning engineer is growing a lot. So I would recommend for you guys that are starting your journey to have a look, see what you prefer, what you feel more comfortable, and what you would like to pursue. So in summary, those are the roles that I see most of the time in the companies that I work. And there are different levels of maturity. So some companies have very big teams, some companies very, very small team. And then also the difference in the skills and the maturity of different people. One thing that is very, very important in your data science project, which we're gonna cover later, but I just want to call out now, you need to have SMEs. So let's imagine you're talking about medicine. For example, I work with NHS, for example, and then you need to work with doctors, you need to work with people that actually know the data and understand why you need to use that particular solution, why that solution will bring up big outcomes. And then, for example, if you work in the financial service, for example, you need to work with the SMEs, the people that understand the data, understand the impact of the solution, and then also will help you to build your model. So not in the coding part, but during the building of the model, but more working together with you. The next topic that I want to cover is regarding data and AI strategy. I think this is a very, very, very hot topic as well, which I personally I've been researching this for some years now. Even before I start my master and my PhD, I always love strategy, and before we actually do something, we need to have a strategy. So I think most of the companies, they fail because they don't build a strategy. And then that's why they don't put models to production. So it's very important to focus on the strategy. So we see roles, for example, as the CDO, the Chief Data Officer, or the Chief Artificial Officer, for example. And then the CTO, some roles that they're more focused on or building the strategy. And then building the strategy for your company, it's very, very important for your company to succeed. So talking about that, like 2019, myself and Professor Ramon and Professor Enrique, we publish a paper, academic paper, which there is this link, which the title is Data and Artificial Intelligence Strategy, where we build like a conceptual enterprise big data cloud architecture that enable market-oriented organization. Pretty much this is like a new formal framework for companies that want to adapt to a big data, let's say, market-oriented strategy. So if you were interested in more an academic paper, I would recommend you to have a look. I put the link, and also, yeah, if you wanted to make some citation, there is the information below. So basically, as you see in the image on the left, there is this idea of, okay, you should have like a data lake. Your data lake should be in the cloud. You should use machine learning ops. You should, for example, use AutoML. You should use deep learn. You should consider to have what we wrote in this paper, a data supermarket. Let's imagine that you're building data, AI data products. So how do you monetize that? So imagine that you wanted to sell. It doesn't mean you're going to need to put a value, monetary value, but this could be kind of selling or sharing with another data consumer. So the idea of data producers and data consumers, and having like a supermarket in the middle where you could make all the orchestration and hosting your data AI products, and also doing the whole end-to-end process. So have a look. If you're interested to discuss about data supermarkets, reach out to me. This is a topic that I've been researching for a long time, and AI products and strategy is something I really like. So when we think about like the journey itself, so yeah, after you have your strategy, so why is it important to start with your strategy, your AI strategy, and your data strategy as well? Because you need to know where you wanted to go. Maybe you need to think about what data do we have in my company. So that's part of your journey. So for example, if you don't know, okay, what are my data assets? Like, okay, I have this system that captures this type of data. I have this another system. I might be able to bring, let's say, weather data. I might be able to bring this data set from the government that is for free in the internet, and then it's also open and I can use. So you need to define your ideas, the potential use case that you could approach. And if you don't know, you could even have a look into the industry one. So for example, if you work in the telecom industry, most of the companies in the telecom industry, they will consider churn as a top AI use case, because you need to be able to predict who's gonna leave your company or not. So for example, I worked for American Online long time ago, like 2000. And then I would work in churn reports. So basically we had to measure, okay, who is staying with us? I don't know if you guys remember, but American Online used to send CDs to our house. This is quite old, maybe not sure for you guys if you guys remember, but like we will send CDs to people's house, and then people will get the CDs, they will install the CDs, and they will have like 1 month free internet. And then after this 1 month free internet, some people will stay and some people will go. So we will have to measure that. And then we were doing things like, okay, how can we increase the people staying, or, you know, so those are things very important. Then I say telecom companies that do, let's say, I'll say Telefonica or Vodafone, all those big companies, they also very concerned about keeping people and predicting. So thinking about your email journey, yeah, definitely your strategy is the first step. Hiring a data science, building a data science team. And then when you're there, you're ready to go, you need to think about your data science life cycle. There is this link in the Microsoft Docs, which I put. So Microsoft put this documentation to help our customers to understand the life cycle. So you need to think about, okay, understand the business, then understand the data, how you can get this data, then how you can model this, and then how you can deploy. So this is what we call the team data science process life cycle. And this next slide, I will share the slides with you guys later. So then you guys will be able to have this. For For example, in the documentation and in this slide, there's some ideas how you could approach this. So for example, first you identify the business problem, then you find what are the relevant data source. As I said, for example, if you are working with telecom, what are the data sets you need? And then you establish a strategy. Then you do the data discovery. Okay, where is the data? Then you clean the data, prepare, you build your data pipelines. That's something the data engineer will help you a lot. And then you do the modeling, which most of the times the data science, they are working on there, where they do they create the features, they build the model, and then they implement this machine learning pipeline. And then you have the machine learning engineer that is going to help you with the deployment. So it's going to deploy, help you to monitor, retrain, visualize. So there are much more details on that. And for time, I'm just concerned about time. I will have to pass very quick this part because I want to leave time for questions in the end. So yeah, those are the life cycle stage. So business understanding, things that, okay, what is my project object? What data I need? What is the target? What are the features? If you have a data dictionaries, I mean, most of the companies that I go ask, oh, can you share with me the data dictionary? Yeah, it's very hard to find someone that have a data dictionary, but it's very important. Even if you go to a project and they don't have a data dictionary, start building your data dictionary. So it's going to help you to publish your AI solution, and then make sure that you're doing the right thing. And then your data quality report. Then when you start looking at the data, you might be able to see, you know what, I cannot build an AI solution, because if I build an AI solution with this data, it's like the story, garbage in, garbage out. So you're done. Don't spend your time. If the data is not good, then there is nothing you can do. No model is going to work with bad data. Just abort the project, and just going to be a project that didn't work well. Or if you have a mitigate strategy to overcome this challenge, maybe you can still pursue this and build this AI solution. And then you have to build your architecture. Yeah, you need to do your modeling. You need to push this to production, and then you have to keep it. The challenge when you push a solution, a machine learning solution to production, and this is a conversation I have with many of my customers, is not just like you gonna create the solution is gonna be there alone. Now you're gonna need a team to maintain, and you're gonna have to keep your model accurate. So you're gonna have to keep the model improving. And then I know some companies, they have many people just to keep the models good. So hiring many data scientists to improve the models, make sure that maybe new data. I'll give you an example. The pandemic, the COVID pandemic, was a big challenge for many of the machine learning models, because they were all using data before the pandemic. So pandemic came, and then all the predictions, they were not reflecting the reality anymore, because, and now we have we have a lot of inflation. So for some forecasting models, I think they're having a lot of trouble to predict. So yeah, you need to have a team to keep the machine learning models improving. So I will go quick on this part. So this is some ideas how you could do the business understanding, the data prep and modeling. I'll leave the slides for you to guys have a look. And then some ingredients to have success. You basically need to know your problem very well. I think this is very, very, very important. This is critical. Don't build an AI solution that you don't understand the problem. You might not understand how you're going to solve the problem, but you need to understand the problem. So solving the problem is part of your solution, is part of our hypothesis. This is what you wanted to research. This is what you wanted to do, but at least knowing your problem, that is critical. And then knowing your data, I think this is a process. Sometimes I start projects where I don't know the data, so I need to do a lot of data exploratory analysis, try to understand the data, and then you have to spend time building the models, and then integrate this to the business, because it's not just about building the model and then you leave your model in your machine. I see this a lot. So people build excellent models, very good, then they stay in their machine. The big challenge is pushing to production. Okay, now I need to make my model accepted by the business. just to make the business, the stakeholders, the people that are going to use the model, just to integrate with them takes a lot of time, because you need to explain how your model works. People need to trust. So everybody is running on trust. If you don't trust a model, then most people are not going to use it because they don't trust the model. Can you imagine if you go to the doctor, or maybe you go to an app and then you put, okay, this is my problem, and then the model is going to say, okay, you need to do this, this, and that. Maybe one day we're going to go to that level, but right now I don't think there's this trust. So what you could have is maybe a model that is going to predict and help some people, for example, getting some insights, and then after you get these insights, a human being will decide. But in some industries, for example, when I enter the United Kingdom, I go to the border control and they take a picture of my face, I put my passport, and then they scan, let me go or not. So this is a computer solution. I don't know if they're using a machine learning model in the back, maybe they're not, but there is this element of trust, that they trust that the machine is able to make a decision. So now, how do we build a scalable, secure, and responsible AI solution? Now this part, I think, will be more like myself selling Microsoft to you guys. Sorry about that, but that's what I believe. So I believe you guys could use Azure for building your scalable, secure, and responsible AI solution. But yeah, feel free to choose your own solution, what you feel more comfortable, what meets your requirement. So today I'm going to present about Microsoft, which are what I use in my day-to-day activities with the customers that I help. So I want to talk to you guys about a service called Azure Machine Learning. And for those who are new to this service, so Azure Machine Learning service bring AI to everyone with an end-to-end scalable and trust platform. When you think about a platform, there's so many things that you need in a platform, because it needs to be scalable, it needs to be secure, you need to have things like responsible AI, automatic machine learning. So there are many things that enterprise, they look when they wanted to acquire a machine learning platform. So if you think about Azure ML, it will boost your data science productivity a lot. People that they were using other things before, when we present Azure ML to the data science team, they started to use Azure ML, and they come to me and say, Kyle, it's much easier now for us to share our experimentation. We can track our models, we can register our models, we can scale in, scale out. Let's say if I need to train a model that require a GPU cluster, very big cluster, and then what you do, you can use this to help you, and then increase your rate of experimentation. Because if you don't have a platform like that, what happens is, instead of doing one experimentation, you can do many. So you can have many data science building different experimentations, and then even for the problems that they were very hard to solve, if you put people and they start collaborating, you can speed up the research, and then you might finish your solution much quicker. And then you can deploy and manage your models everywhere. So the platform was built with the needs of our customers in mind. So basically, things that we see that customers, they really like is automatic machine learning. They like to manage compute, the simple deployment, DevOps for machine learning, which is like ML ops. They like support for open source frameworks, and they are like these two agnostic. You can use the Python SDK. And I'm gonna have to go quick because I want to leave time for questions. I see some people raising hands, and then I wanted to leave time. But just to go quick and finish, I still need five to 10 minutes. The machine learning on Azure allows you to do things like computer vision, speech, language search, you have, for example, you could use your data science tools like PyCharm, Jupyter, Visual Studio, command line. You can run things like PyTorch, TensorFlow, Skitlearn, Onyx, and then you can attach to your Azure Machine Learning Service things like Databricks and also machine learning VMs, and then in terms of infrastructure, you can use CPU clusters and GPUs and FPGA clusters. So and then you can deploy to Edge as well. Quick thing about MLOps, we're coming to the end, and I just wanted to cover two more topics. One of them, which is very important, is MLOps. So that's the reality I see in many companies. The data science team will say, I have a model for you. And there's this wall of confusion. And then people from the ops side will say, okay, how do I deploy and manage and monitor your model? So there is this confusion. So the idea of using MLOps on Azure is to remove this confusion. So because you need to do things like data drift, model decay, scaling models, concept drift. So the idea is you need this enterprise-ready machine learning development. You need to think that, okay, I'm going to have a data engineer that's going to prepare the data. It's going to use the data catalog. At Microsoft, we have Azure Purview, which helps you to do the data discovery. And then you have your data lake where you're going to put your data. And then your data science is going to train your model, prepare, train, evaluate. When your model is good, it's going to register this model into Azure ML. And then you have your machine learning engineer. Your machine learning engineer is going to release your model. It's going to use things like Azure DevOps, GitHub Action. And you will do the package, the validate, the profile, the approval, all the deployment. And then this next slide gives you an idea a little bit more about the tools you could use. For example, you could use Azure DevOps boards to manage the tasks. You could use Azure DevOps repos, like say Git and then or GitHub, and then Azure DevOps for pipelines and task plans, Azure DevOps for artifacts and pipelines, and then you can use Azure Machine Learning Service for the model monitoring, and then you have application insights. So the end-to-end process is you have the data, you prepare, then you build your model, you train and test, you register your model, then you do the managing model. For example, you have new versions of your model, and then you build these machines to deploy. And then when we deploy the model to production, you can deploy, for example, in things like AKS, Azure Kubernetes Service. For the people that are familiar with Kubernetes, for example, you could use this. So in the model management details, basically you have to create, retrain models a lot because you need to make sure some companies, they do every week, sometimes every day, you can even do every month. So if your data is changing a lot, you might even need to use things like A/B testing. Okay, when you deploy your model, you deploy for maybe 10% of your base. Let's imagine you're deploying a model to a web application, and then let's say you don't want to test this into your whole base of users. You wanted to use maybe a 5%, and then you want to deploy that. And then if it works well, then you push this to the whole other part. So you need to monitor. So it's a very important part that you need to focus. And now going to my last topic, which is responsible AI. I wanted to make us reflect on responsible AI. So Brad Smith, which is the president and chief legal officer at Microsoft, he wrote a book. What the title is, Tools and Weapons. So the promise and the peril of the digital age. So when you create technology that changes the world, you have to assume a responsibility for the world that you have helped to create. So there is a lot of media about talking about the world that we're creating. So if we think about, for example, social media, there is a lot of discussion around using AI with social media and the impact that it has. And then other areas as well, if you go to maybe warfare, okay, using AI to build machines like drones that kill. So there are many things that we could use AI and then maybe will harm society. So that's why Microsoft is pushing very hard for all of us, all data scientists and every member of the data science team, and in fact, every member of the organization, to really reflect about are we creating technology that are gonna change the world for better? So if you're helping to create this technology, we need to think about responsible AI. So our Microsoft journey regarding responsible AI started around 2016, where Satya Nadella pens an article introducing the concept of responsible AI. And later we have other things that happened, for example, the ITER commit, then we established our AI principle through the future computer in 2018. So you can see it's not like a very old journey. So we're not talking about a lot of years. But right now, 2022, we released many content which are available on our website about how you and your organization should use responsible AI to make sure that you are doing the right thing. But talking about the principles, that's very important to understand that Microsoft has what we call the Microsoft AI principles for responsible AI. And then one is fairness. The other one is reliability and safety, privacy and safety, inclusiveness, transparency, and accountability. So I wanted to share a true story. So now I'm gonna present to you guys this customer story around NHS. And this is a project that I am still working on this project, but I work on this project for like 2 years now. I know Justin, the person that is going to speak in this video, very well. We work together a lot, and it's a very important story for me. And this is about NHS. So for people that don't know what NHS is, so NHS is our national health system in the UK. So every time you go to the doctor, you're going to use NHS. So you go to hospitals, and if you need to do a surgery, and this is a machine learning model to help to predict if people are going to have complications in surgery, so hip surgery. So you have to do a hip surgery, then you need to, it's a very complicated, it's a very critical thing. The complications are things that nobody wants to go, and let's say if you have someone from your family, you also don't want to be someone from your family be part of the statistic of people that had a bad surgery. So the idea of this machine learning model is to augment the doctor, help the doctors to understand potential issues. So basically, I'm going to leave this to Justin. I have a video. Now I wanted to see if you guys can see this video. In fact, this video is in the YouTube, but it's embedded here. So I'm going to play and see if you guys can hear the video. And then we're going to conclude this session with questions. So let me play here.
Gosh, why not become a surgeon? My greatest responsibility is that my patients, they're at the heart of everything. Gosh, why not?
Can you guys hear it when I share, just to make sure?
Yes, yes. We can.
Okay, so I'm going to put the video again. Sorry.
Gosh, why not become a surgeon? My greatest responsibility is that my patients, they're at the heart of everything.
Surgery is a significant decision. Previously, when we'll have a conversation with a patient, we would discuss the risks that they've really haven't been able to be personalised enough.
Predicting the risk of surgery is a really complicated process, and surgery is irreversible. So we need to make sure that we're operating on the right people for the right reasons. Using machine learning and artificial intelligence to understand risk of surgery is just right at the very forefront of technological change. And responsible AI is absolutely key.
And the beauty of this system is that we can say what goes into that conclusion, and that helps the patients and then the clinicians understand what is driving that particular risk. Currently, 220 different fields go into the model. Basic demographics, age, other aspects like social deprivation, the past medical history, blood tests.
The Responsible AI dashboard from Microsoft does help us have more meaningful conversations with the patients or a clinical team. Being able to offset those inherent biases, which we all have, is really important for the clinician because they can make a sound judgment and use the tools available to them to provide the best possible care to their patients.
A personalised view about what their particular risk is does empower people to be able to make decisions about their lives. And that is really what we need to be doing with consent, is making it as personal as possible to them.
For patients, ultimately, this is going to provide them the treatment they need so that they recover faster, they're able to do the things in life that they wanted to do, that are struggling because of a condition that we can do something about. It's such a privilege to be involved in that.
So I just want to conclude my session with the phrase that Justin said. It's such a privilege to be involved in something like that. So I hope you guys liked my session. I hope it was useful and informative. And I had to cover many topics in a short time. I will leave time now for questions. I don't know if we still have time for. You guys can reach out to me on LinkedIn as well and send me questions there, or I don't know how I'm going to get all the questions, but I will finish my presentation. I wanted to say thank you. Gracias, obrigado. Thank you very much for your time today. I hope it was useful.
Yes, Caio, if you have 10 minutes, then we can take questions. They are in the Q&A section. So
yeah, sure. I have time for questions. I don't know how we do. Do I go to the Q&A chat, or do you gonna read the question, or how? Okay, I can go. I think I can see. Yeah, I think I can see. There is one question that, let's say, which cloud-based ML solutions are widely used? They're Azure, AWS, Google Cloud, as a students with certifications of learning to invest on. I think this is a question that I will have a lot of bias because I work for Microsoft. So I would definitely say, yeah, go for Azure. But yeah, between the three clouds, you will be able to do amazing things. So I recommend you to try the three offers. But yeah, start with Azure. I think you will like it. And then, as I said, I'm very biased. So if I respond to your question, I will say, yeah, go to the Azure certifications and invest your time on Azure. So in the beginning, when I put like how to become an Azure data scientist, those two videos, I will recommend you to have a look on those. And then one of them I will mention about the certifications. The other question is, could you please share any Azure learning resource? Yeah, so this question in the how to start in the, let me go back to, I think is slide. So yeah, to respond to this question, let me go to slide, is this slide here. Basically, this slide responds to first questions. It's a lot of slides, so let me go back to, yeah, this one, how to become a Azure data scientist. So have a look on those two videos. Also, in this video, how to become an Azure data scientist, I show there is Microsoft Learn, which has a lot of courses. They are for free, and then I explain this on this video. The other question is, will this presentation be shared? Yes, I think so. I can share the slides with the team, and then the team can make it available for you guys. I will also post this on my GitHub. So if you go to my let me leave here this. So if you go to my social media here in the slide here, so you see this link tree. If you click here, you see there is a GitHub. So basically it's github.com and then like this. So I will post the slides there as well, but I will share this with the team as well. How to show explainability in models which can enhance trust. Yeah, so in the responsible AI framework, like we have some tools. I think this is a very, all the questions are very good. So in terms of explainability, there are, oh, is someone saying something? Oh, so there are some notebooks that I can share. So let me quickly share my GitHub here so I can better respond to this question. 1 second. So if you go here, this is my GitHub. So there's this machine learning workshop, which I put some links. There's this lab 5. Have a look in this lab 5 and see if this is something that will answer your question, and then you can talk about this offline. Oh, more questions are, okay, this is the answer ones. Okay, open, okay, so let me see. I have to say answer live. Okay, so if we can keep track of the question, so I respond the first ones. Now going to the other one, how can I make sure the ML model will work with the same quality on a production data compared to a prototype on a historical data? Yeah, so there is this challenge of overfit, underfit, also the data changing. So you could use the monitoring tools to see if your model is performing well, and then most of the times what happens when you train with your historical data, when you push to production, the results are not the same. So you need to tweak, you need to improve. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with Kaggle, but if you go to kaggle.com, you can try things with a training data set, and then when you train with your test, it kind of helps you to practice how will be in real life. So where does feature engineer happens in ML? Is this part of the engineer or the ML ops engineer? Yeah, so the feature engineers is data scientists help that will do, and then you're going to do this into the Azure ML. Let me see if I can, I don't know how much time we still have, but I can quickly show you guys the portal here. So for example, if you see here, I have this Azure ML created, and then if you click here, you open the studio, and then in the Azure ML studio, going to your question, let's say if you want to build your features, you can do this into the notebooks. So there is like notebooks here that you can create. So if you're starting with Azure ML, there's some sample examples here. For example, how to use Azure ML. And there is like one example here in tutorials that I like to start, that is this image classification, which teaches you how to train and also how to deploy. So for example, if you click here on train, right, this is an example that Microsoft created. Okay, how would you train an image in Azure ML? So you do all the experimentation thing here, you're exploring with the data, and then you do all your coding, and then you train your model, and then you register your model. So in this example, I think it's very useful to start. And then, yeah, I will recommend you to, if you're the data science, you do the feature engineer, and then you build this in your code, basically. Could you please explain Azure Machine Learning Service versus Azure Machine Learning Studio? Oh, yeah, so basically the studio is this visual interface here. but the Azure Machine Learning Service is the whole service. So yeah, they pretty much together. So think about Azure Machine Learning Service, and then inside Azure Machine Learning Service, there is the studio. So the studio is where you create the things. Okay, so will getting Azure AI Engineer certification with Microsoft Build Cloud Challenge helps in become Azure Data Scientist? Yeah, definitely helps. I think the Azure AI Engineer certification is good but the Azure AI certification focus also on cognitive service, which are AI embedded into Microsoft service. So you basically call the APIs, and the APIs will do the predictions for you. But if you want to build your custom models, then you need to do this in Azure ML. And then to do that, I will recommend you to have a look into the Azure Data Scientist certification, which is more focused towards that. Can you suggest what to be focused on while exploring medical diagnostic using machine learning? I don't know if I understood this question very well. Maybe, I don't know if you wanted to come on stage and help me understand more about what you asking me about this question. Are you, I don't know how to say your name, is Dmitry Mishra? Maybe if you wanted to help me with this question. Are you still there? Are you? Yeah, so I'll leave this question for the end, maybe if you're still there. And the other, how to get skills or experience in this field. I think this is for, there's two types of experience. There's one is more the academic one. So if you go to university, if you invest time this way, so in courses and doing maybe a master degree or PhD, this is one way of getting the skills and experience. The other way is also doing this, you could also go to things like Kaggle. I don't know if you guys know, but I really like, because it gives you a lot of data sets. So let me share this link with you guys. I forgot to put this into this slide, but I think this is very useful for people learning. So I think you can go here and you find codes of many people, examples. So you could use this a lot to learn. And I will really recommend you to do that. And also in terms of getting experience in a company, I think that is a little bit challenging, because what I see is some companies, they wanted to hire people that they already have the experience. So you're going to have to find a company that is able to invest on you. So maybe you could do is try to get some internship, or maybe doing a specific job. Let's imagine you're a very good data engineer. So you work as a data engineer, but then you work together with the data science, and then with time you will get the experience, and then maybe you could move to a data science role in case you wanted to do. But be aware, they don't only need to be the data science to work in a data science project. There are like many roles. Maybe you're very experienced app developer, so you could work with the data science team. So it's really like, do you want to work in a data science team? If yes, then you have many roles that you could play. Or do you want to be a data scientist? If you want to be a data scientist, then yeah, you need to work towards getting this experience. There are many ways. I think there are many people that they even move from other areas. So I know people that they did a PhD in something totally different, but this experience they had with research and being a scientist helped them a lot in a data science project. And there are people that came from other backgrounds. For example, I know people that came from civil engineering and other areas like computer science, mathematics, economics, and different areas like physics and different ones. So the other one is, many questions are coming. I don't think I'll be able to answer all, but how do I get skills? I think I did this. As a beginner, for which topic should I start to learn the basics? Yeah, start with that how to start slide that I put. I think that's really like something to start, because I will help you, I will guide you through the materials from Microsoft. How can I confirm if the data is unusable for machine learning or made a model just missing something? Oh yeah, so basically is, imagine you have a data, right? A data set. You have, let's say, 10 variables, and let's say most of them, they are empty. So most of the time, empty could mean something, you know. For example, maybe you don't have, let's imagine the medical field, like you don't have an information, a variable, because that information was not collected. I mean, maybe that person didn't have that type of problem, and that's why that information was not collected. But even that the data, not having the data could mean a good thing. If you don't have the data, then it's quite hard. It's very hard for the machine learning models to be able to predict. So I find not having, like, having missing data as a big challenge. Sometimes you need to delete, you need to remove a specific feature from your data set because it doesn't predict anything, because it's almost a lot of the data is missing. There are some ways you could use, let's say you can have input strategies to create new data, but yeah, it's a challenge, I think. How can I confirm either the data? Okay, I respond this one. Azure Portal is not available in the country chat. So how do I get access to practice tools? Well, I will not know how to answer that. I don't know, maybe if you can use a VPN to connect with another region where you can get access. I think what I would try to do, maybe connect to a VPN. I don't know. I don't understand about the legislation, why it's not available, if it's for political reasons, I don't know, or it's just because it's not there. If I'm not gonna have the answer for this question now, but practice tools you could do. I don't know if you can download Visual Studio and maybe start running on your own machine instead of using the cloud. And if you wanted to, if you can maybe connect to somewhere that you can connect it to the Azure portal, will be an option as well. But I don't know much about that. I will have a look internally. Maybe if you wanted to reach out to me, Levi, I can try to understand how you could have access to the Azure portal. I mean, there is another practice platform. Okay, I mean, there's another practice. Oh yeah, no, basically to start with data scientists, you can start with your own machine. You don't need, but when you have to deploy when you have to deploy a scalable solution, like you need to deploy this to many people to use, then is when you're gonna need the cloud, I would say. So definitely when you want to push to production your solution. But if it's just for you, for experimentation, you can run on your own machine. Azure is the same as OneDrive or SkyDrive, like Microsoft early is really. Yeah, so OneDrive is like a product from Microsoft. Azure is our cloud in a sense that you can have, let's say, virtual machines there. You have service like Azure Machine Learning, which allows you to run your machine learning models. So it's not the same. So I will recommend you to have a look into the Azure portal. There are some videos explaining what is Azure, and also there is like an Azure Fundamentals certification that teach you about the Azure fundamentals, what is the service, so what is Azure, and all that. And there's also some I think very good YouTube videos about that. So there are two more questions that I'll have to go because I have another meeting soon. But so could you please give some insights on fairness in responsible AI, or can you please provide some documents on website to get more information? Yeah, definitely I can. So Shadab, sorry if I mispronounce your name. Let me share with you this GitHub page that I have.
Yes, your GitHub page is already shared in the chat.
Oh, you already shared? Oh, excellent.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
So,
you can proceed
have
to
a
last
look on that.
question.
Yeah, excellent. Okay. Okay, so also I'm looking for useful insights based on your experience for machine learning techniques equipped or being applied in the ML in the field of disease diagnosis. Yeah, so if you are you working in the medical space now? Maybe if you could try to explain a little bit what you're trying to do. And because I have many things I could share, so I just wanted to know what exactly you're looking for.
Smriti said she is a scholar, so I think she's pursuing PhD.
Sorry, are you sorry, I cannot hear very well.
Smriti says she is a scholar, so I think she is pursuing PhD
Okay.
in medical field. Yeah.
Okay, let me see if I can find. There is like there's some materials that we. I think we can take this offline. Maybe if you wanted to connect
Yes,
with me on
Smriti
LinkedIn.
can connect with you on LinkedIn, and then you
because
can
I
guide her
can.
further.
Yeah, because during the week I can find some materials and share with you related. Because for example, there are some examples of using images, so using computer vision to detect some, for example, breast cancer, for example, or some disease that you could identify using computer vision, for example. But there are other things as well. For example, in the healthcare industry, AI is being very well, I would say, adapt. So I think there are many things I could share with you. So yeah, good. I think I answered all the questions. If there's no more question, thank you very much for your time today. Hope it was useful. Yeah, please send feedback, things I should improve for next session, and things you like, think you guys didn't like, or any question you might have. It'll be very useful. And I hope you guys have a great day, great end of the day. And just covering my face here because there's a lot of sun. But thank you very much. I will close now from my side.
Yes, thanks a lot, Caio. On behalf of Analytics Vidhya, I would like to thank you for your time and delivering such a wonderful session.
Thank you very much.